It's been 2 weeks since we've done a show, and a lot has happened. I'm Ryan Joy, and I run MinutesSpellTime.com, a website and database tracking pro wrestling from around the world. The WWE has shaken things up with the draft, which doesn't go into effect until after Crown Jewel. We have NXT call-ups, teams being split up, and some major wrestlers flipping back and forth. I also made it to AEW Dynamite in Rochester and Philadelphia. So on today's show, we're going to talk about my trips to AEW and the WWE draft. We also have some major headlines from the world of wrestling. Karl is in the house, and this is the Daily Wrestling News Show for October 11th, 2021, where we sort through all the bullshit in wrestling news to find you the truth. All right, Al, welcome to the show.
Yeah, glad to hear that music again, Ryan. Where the hell have you been?
I know it's been 13 days since we've done a show here. So the last one was Tuesday in September, I think 28th. So it's been a long time.
Damn.
I got on a plane on the 28th later that day, went up to Rochester, New York, did Dynamite, and actually I did the EWP. So it was the next day, next morning.
Yes.
I went up to Rochester for Dynamite. I did that. I went to an indie show on Friday in Syracuse. I went to say happy birthday to my mom in New York, and then we went to Philadelphia Dynamite. So it's been pretty crazy, but I did make it home. I was able to watch some GCW over the weekend and Knockdown, and it's been crazy. It's been a crazy couple of weeks, but we got wrestling. Wrestling didn't stop just because I was all over the place.
Yeah, and I had to deal with my in-laws, so I'm jealous.
Well, here we go. So, Al, let's talk about the draft. Now, I didn't watch the Raws or SmackDowns where the draft actually happened. I was on travel, so you're going to have to fill me in as best you can. But I've got all the notes. I understand what's happened. I think the most exciting thing whenever we talk about movement in the rosters is to talk about the implications of the NXT call-ups. So we had a bunch in this particular draft. We had 6. And then an entire faction as one of those 6. So it's really like 10 people coming up, 9 or 10 people. So we have Austin Theory to Raw, Drake Maverick to Raw, Ridge Holland to SmackDown, Aaliyah went to SmackDown, and Hit Row, all of Hit Row to SmackDown. So SmackDown making out here.
Yeah, they got the most of the NXT guys. You know, Drake Maverick I didn't put on this. Drake Maverick, he was on Raw before. I know he was kind of splitting time. Putting guys over on NXT 2.0, and then he's been chasing organizing the chase for the 24/7 championship on Raw. So I didn't put him on here, but yeah. So these are the guys. This is the current NXT roster. The couple names that stick out to me, I guess one specifically is Dakota Kai, and we talked about this on Tuesday. She didn't get the call up, and now everybody's kind of worried here about her because. She just came off her championship feud with Raquel Gonzalez, and we were all expecting the next step. She didn't win it, and apparently she was on all these main event shows and whatnot, and her name was not called. Now, I guess that doesn't mean she doesn't go eventually, but, it's kind of a big moment. I don't want to, equivalent to like an NFL draft or whatever, when there's a big celebration, you go up, you shake the commissioner's hand, this, that, and the other, and it's a big moment in a professional athlete's life. But I'm assuming these NXT superstars, they look forward to this. I remember the first ever draft. Alexa Bliss was in tears when she got drafted out of nowhere. So Dakota, I don't know if they just robbed her of that moment for a run in later on after Crown Jewel, but Dakota Kai, that name sticks out bad.
Yeah, I agree with you. I Dakota Kai. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's like if she were to be drafted, she has to share the spotlight with all these other people. If she makes some surprise come up, between now and the end of the year, she gets the moment all to herself.
Yeah.
Now the other side of that is. It's almost impossible not to talk about. We've had 57 releases this year. Yes. And we know once WWE makes their decision, it feels like it's over. Like things happen very quickly. So, that's hanging out there too. Is like some of these people that we thought might go up, are they going to get cut?
Well, that is exactly what the thing is. Everyone is just scared to death of Dakota Kai because we love her. We think she's great. She belongs. And is Tegan's up there, Tony's up there, Shotzi's up there. Why not Dakota Kai? Like she's been the May. She was day one Mae Young Classic. So and she did well in that tournament. She went to she got to the quarterfinals before I believe she ran into Kairi Sane. But it's we're worried about that. So that's the one person right now that's on the radar. I think Pete Dunne will be okay. I mean, he actually lost his entire faction because they turned on Oni and Danny, and then Ridge gets the call up. So now Pete Dunne's flying solo again. Kyle O'Reilly was a possibility. He didn't get called up. Those are the kind of names that stick out to me. Yeah, I was actually thinking maybe Oni and Danny too, because the funny thing is, if they just got kicked out of the tag team, figured they would get the call up. And then Oni came out, did the proper thing last Tuesday. He put over a new guy, I believe it was Zion something. The Singaporean guy. So we figured maybe Oni was, those guys were going to get caught. And they didn't get it either. So it's,
so
they
I didn't watch NXT. Was it Dante Chen or was it?
No, Zion.
It's the other guy. Yeah.
Zion Quinn recently defeated Oni Lorcan in one-on-one action. So now you have Zion Quinn. Oni beat Finn Balor and Karrion Kross by himself. So now Zion Quinn is taking out Oni. How good is this guy?
Right.
Oh, he's not the Singaporean guy. He's Samoan. I'm sorry, Dante Chen. You're right. Is this
Dante Chen is the guy from?
Yeah. It wasn't Dante.
Yep. So it's very interesting. When you look at NXT, in fact, NXT, like this whole conversation that we're having about all these new faces, what does that mean for our old faces? Like that's the conversation we've been having for going on a month now. And then we had the draft. You mentioned Dakota Kai was like the person that we all had kind of pegged. The good news on Dakota is she's excellent, right? Yes. She's not one of the people that's like a rough around the edges worker. So like if something happened with Dakota Kai and she got released or whatever, she'd find work, right? There's no question there.
Yeah.
So that's the good news. Plus the fact that she's excellent to me says hopefully WWE will recognize that and bring her.
I'm gonna have a visitor in about 2 seconds.
Is it your cat?
Yeah, it's Stormy. Stormy loves the camera all of a sudden. Another name, and actually his I don't know if it was a rumor or something came up over the weekend, but Johnny Gargano changed his Twitter, his profile from NXT superstar to professional wrestler. So now Johnny hasn't been on TV. We know Candice is pregnant. Maybe it's that, but Johnny's nowhere to be found all of a sudden. He lost Austin Theory. Indy's doing her own thing now. She got a new tag team partner. They finally mentioned her name last Tuesday. I don't remember what it is, but Candice is off TV. So the Way is now since been disbanded. Where's Johnny? Where's Johnny? What's gonna happen with Johnny? So,
yeah, and his contract's up December 3rd. So that's even worse. So we'll see what happens with Gargano and everybody. So those are your NXT call-ups. The other one I wanted to mention, the list that we had brought up, Hit Row to SmackDown. Now Swerve Scott, he is well credentialed. He had a heck of a run on the Indies, and he's been around for a long time. Not even blinking at the fact that Swerve Scott got called up. The other three in the faction, I do blink. I think Fab has had one match, and I don't think she did a run on the Indies. So, or two matches maybe for B-Fab at this point.
Yes, because she had a no disqualification match with Elektra Lopez, and I remember everyone sitting there like, why would you put these two in that position when neither of them have done anything yet? And they shined. So to their credit, it wasn't Kenny Omega versus Okada. But it exceeded expectations because I think everybody had the bar low set for them, so they did okay. But yeah, they're Top Dollar. I know John Smith's a big fan of Top Dollar. I'm not worried about him. I'm not really worried about Ashante either. I think this is more of the character, and I don't know. This isn't an answer to the Acclaimed. I mean, that can't be it. I mean, that's not.
No, I don't think so.
No. But so they and then actually the big North American Championship match tomorrow night. We're gonna we possibly see the title change and get Santos the belt that he wanted.
Do you think they brought up the right faction? Should they have brought up Legado?
I don't think there's a wrong answer. I don't think I think Legato. Well, you're in the same situation. You know, you got a guy that can go. You know, Santos and Swerve.
Yep.
I'll put them on the same level for now. You know, I love them both. And then, you know, maybe Joaquin and Raul, maybe because of I don't want to say seniority or
they're better
longevity.
workers.
He's been around longer. You know, Raul Mendoza was in the Cruiserweight Classic. That's how long he's been around. So
yeah.
You know, but they're smaller, you know. Like I said, Top Dollar's got them, and then you got Electra Lopez and B Fab kind of came. It would have been the same situation. I think you got both great factions, both have great character factions, you know, as for storyline purposes or whatnot. You know, they both tell, they both have a heritage and a background. You know, that's that's their whole thing, the legacy of the lucha Mexican wrestling. So,
and this is so. Moving on to the other ones, this is WWE main roster's second look at Austin Theory.
yes.
And I'm sitting here and I'm wondering, has he really developed that much since his last run at the main roster? Now, he's done a bunch of character work. He's kind of goofy and stuff since he's been down on NXT this time around. But has he progressed enough to where you think that he has a good shot this time?
I just didn't he piss somebody off? No, he pissed somebody off when he got. I don't think it had anything to do with his mic work or his ring work or anything. And Austin Theory is great, and he's a guy that you can develop too. What is he, like 22, 23? Like Austin Theory is going to be around for a while. If I remember correctly, he pissed somebody off. That was.
Well, he was. You know, they had let Zelena Vega go, or shortly after they let Zelena Vega go, and Andrade left too. So he was probably not the best company in terms of, you know.
Yeah, well, like I said, he was in with Garza and Andrade, and then all that happened. And the last thing I think we saw it was in the Performance Center before even the changeover. He was supposed to be one of Seth Rollins' disciples. I believe he got kicked out, and Rollins picked him up, and that was the end of that. Because then the whole thing with Buddy Murphy and the Mysterios, and then AOP got released, which is crazy. They haven't popped up lately.
Yep.
But
so then Xia Li, Ridge Holland, two more guys that are, or not guys, but two more athletes, I guess, that have had relatively short runs, right? Xia Li, her character has gone through quite a transformation in the last year. She's been around a long time. She was also a Mae Young Classic alum, but her matches have rarely exceeded 3 minutes long. So it's a very interesting play to pull her up. Ridge Holland, different, right? He's been around a while too. He had a run in NXT UK, and then he came over NXT. He got injured for a bit, and he's back. They must just like what they see in him, because he has not. I mean, he's not put in the time that Pete Dunne has had. I wouldn't.
No, Ridge has the look that Vince loves. Though. That didn't shock me that Ridge got called up. It's he's I don't say a younger version of Sheamus, but the European. It's just
Sometimes I look at some of the guys that are on NXT, and sometimes I go, that person's not going to be ready, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're on the main roster tomorrow.
Yeah. I know. I think Ridge Holland, that didn't shock me. I'm happy for him. Like I said, he's a big guy. He's got the look. He's got a character. He's got that UK bruiser bar fighter, look to him. And I have a problem with that. Xia Li, you're exactly right though. Xia Li, we haven't seen. She just went into this character change, and now Boa and Mae Young are on an island by themselves.
Yeah.
Down in NXT, so that kind of screwed them over. I don't know if Mae Young again was in another match last week, but who knows what she can actually do? We don't even know who she is. Is she even was she somebody?
Karen Q. So she does have an identity, but still a lot of people don't know who she is. Even then,
I wouldn't. I didn't even know who was it. Her? Has it been her the whole entire time? I feel like they changed. I feel like they changed this character just because, oh crap, she has to wrestle now.
I think it's been her the whole time, but
okay,
the way they've had her dressed up, if she was not healthy or was not there, they could easily, make a switch there. So, all right, so on from NXT. I think the other thing that's interesting with the draft is that the women's championship seems to have flip-flopped a little bit here. So we got Charlotte, who is the Raw Women's Champion. She's now on SmackDown. Yes. Becky Lynch, who is the SmackDown champion, she's now on Raw. Becky obviously has a big match at Crown Jewel where she's defending against Bianca Belair, also on Raw, and Sasha Banks, who is still on SmackDown. So it's kind of like, what's going to happen here? Al, are they going to do the same thing the tag team champions did and just switch the belts? Or what if Bianca, or what if Sasha Banks wins at Crown Jewel and then you've got both champions on the same brand?
Yeah, that's the big question. And honestly, I have no idea. Now, is this the cheapest way to give Charlotte another title reign?
Oh,
Probably,
yeah.
because that's what they did with the New Day. They switched the belts, therefore your new champions, and the New Day broke the tag team championship record with their 11th title reign based on a handoff in the back because they switched shows. I think the smart money would be on Becky in that match, only because it would make the switch easier.
Or Bianca.
But I feel that in the past, these Saudi Arabia shows, as glorified as they are in the big stadiums and all the money that goes into that they got paid, they use every dime of it. I feel like the Titantron's huge. There's no shortage of pyro. So, but it's just a glorified house show.
It is.
So
Goldberg won the championship there.
Yeah, that was it. Goldberg won the Universal title, and I do believe the Fiend beat Seth Rollins as well. I was looking back at it because I thought that was the Hell in the Cell match that everyone cranked over, but it wasn't. It was the rematch where the Fiend won the Universal title for the first time. So they do title change. I just said doo-doo, and but it's just. I don't think that's Goldberg and you're launching people there, and they paid for Goldberg. They paid all those millions of dollars for Goldberg. That's what they wanted to see.
Yeah,
the Fiend maybe as well. Maybe I think the Fiend was maybe more storyline than it was launch a character. I don't think they're gonna do that. I think they're the man is gonna walk in and out. And if not, then Bianca's the one that's getting pinned because then it's gonna be Charlotte.
To me, the storyline's a lot more interesting if it's Sasha Banks that wins. Because we did the tag team thing last year where they both had, the belts or whatever. They just switched the belt. This year it'd be more interesting if instead they have both champions on SmackDown, especially as you're heading into Survivor Series with brand supremacy, right, next month. Maybe that's a more interesting storyline of SmackDown having that one up on Raw going into Survivor Series. And maybe if they don't win SmackDown, they have to vacate the title or something. I don't know.
So. Yeah, it's an interesting. Yeah, Survivor Series puts a huge wrench in that whole entire because I don't think they'll rip it off 2020. If they do the same thing over again, it's going to annoy people, which I get. But like I said, it's just to get here comes Charlotte. Now she's a 12-time champ. So it's it's a fun situation. I was intrigued even if the draft didn't happen. I'm extremely intrigued in that match. I think that's going to be a great match with those three. Now
Charlotte does not have a match as of right now at Crown Jewel yet.
No, so we don't have jump the winner. She's going to jump the winner of the Queen's Crown tournament.
There you go. Yeah, that makes sense. And we're going to get into Queen's Crown in a minute because all the other people that have a name Queen, they're in the tournament, but Charlotte wasn't even put in. So we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Also, tag teams. We had 4 go from Raw to SmackDown. And 4 go from SmackDown to Raw, which I didn't even know they had that many tag teams. Rude and Ziggler switched to Raw. Ray and Dom switched to Raw. Street Profits and Alpha Academy, they all switched to Raw. Jinder and Shanky, I don't know if that's really a tag team, but they were drafted together, I guess, to SmackDown. Viking Raiders to SmackDown. New Day, Carrillo, and Garza switching to SmackDown. So the tag divisions, it's... with the few exceptions, it's almost like they lifted the Raw division and put it up on SmackDown and the SmackDown division and put it on Raw. So it doesn't even open up too many new possibilities, really.
It's a good point. When the Viking Raiders got drafted to SmackDown, I jumped out of my chair and I just said, please, God, hold that off till WrestleMania.
I was concerned, just in the back of my head, was concerned that we might have an Otis and Tucker situation on the Viking Raiders, where one would get drafted over to SmackDown or something, and the other one would get forgotten. Luckily, that didn't happen. But yes, the Viking Raiders, I feel like that's a team that anytime they want to make them the baddest team on the planet, they can.
Oh yeah,
anytime.
Just unleash them. That's what they'll just get the leash off them, get the collar, and just let them go. Like I said, do it. I don't even care if they don't do it until freaking WrestleMania. Like unleash the Viking Raiders at WrestleMania. Against the Usos and just let them just tear it down because they can. Like that's not like they're gonna.
Yep. Give them 20 minutes. Let them do what they want.
Yeah, and then you can put like no holds barred or put a no DQ stipulation on that. They would kill each other and it would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So here are the people that were split. The New Day, obviously, Big E is going to be on Raw, and Xavier and Woods, they're going to SmackDown. Mace is on SmackDown, and T-Bar is on Raw. They had a match on Main Event, which was, I guess, their last match. They won. Tamina on Raw, Natalya on SmackDown, Tegan on Raw, Shotzi on SmackDown. I put Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. They split too. Nia's on Raw, Shayna's on SmackDown. I think that storyline was adequately put to its conclusion when Shayna destroyed Nia a couple weeks ago.
And then we don't have to go through the match that, the separation match.
Right. We're good. So that's the groups that were split up. Do you think either Mace or T-Bar has a shot on their own?
Dijakovic does. He totally does.
He's great, but do you think that he's going to get the push?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I wouldn't say it as T-Bar. You just let him go as dominant Dijakovic. Bring back the feast your eyes. Yeah. And even I think that's stupid, but whatever. It worked for him and people loved it because the crowd did it with him. So, no, Dijakovic can totally make it on his own. I haven't seen enough of Mace to make that general educated guess. I guess, Dijakovic has been proven. But going to, Veer is the guy I had my eye on. And we've had a lot of conversation. We know Veer is the Shawn Michaels of the team with Shanky. So
you're darn right about that.
Yeah.
So Veer, you're thinking he's going to go on his massive singles run. I forgot to put that up in the split ups. Veer is on Raw, Shanky and Jinder over on SmackDown. So you think Veer's going to go on a WWE title run?
Sure. Yeah, he's yeah, definitely. The next time they have an Indian pay-per-view over in India, look for Veer to beat Brock Lesnar.
You know what?
You don't even know what to say about it.
No. I was just thinking about like what we had to say about the Viking Raiders, and I'm trying to apply that to Veer. That's hard.
I said, I like to make, I compared Orange Cassidy to The Undertaker. I've compared Roman Reigns to Enzo Amore. I'm going to throw Veer and Shawn Michaels on that list too.
All right.
There's your comparison.
So here are your free agents. Asuka, Bayley.
Yeah. Time out. Yeah. And the mother of all, I can say it on this show because you sort through it. In the mother of all bullshit, how was Eva Marie not drafted?
She's a free agent.
What the hell is this?
Well, so you know what I was thinking just now is we had made that big deal about Dakota Kai. I had heard when they signed Eva Marie this time that Eva was going to her role was really going to be about establishing new people, and we kind of saw that with Doudrop, right? She kind of got her off and running. Maybe that's the idea with Dakota Kai. Maybe Dakota Kai comes in as Eva Marie's next heater or something.
I would love every second of that. I would love every single second of that, and then give him Tegan too. I don't care.
So Eva Marie, free agent, so she can show up. She presumably will show up sometime anywhere. Lindsay Dorado, Grand Metalik, Lacey Evans. I guess you can throw John Cena and Brock Lesnar. They're very part-time, but
John Cena, Brock Lesnar, and Goldberg can go wherever the hell they want to go. That's why they're not on these lists. That's why they'll never be drafted. They will be able to appear on both shows at will.
Yeah. They will go wherever WWE wants to direct them. Yeah. So I think that's the majority of the storylines out of the draft. Of course, you have a ton of people moving about, right? You've got your Jeff Hardy's moving over, and Drew McIntyre moved over to SmackDown. On the Raw side, you had Seth Rollins go over, and you had Finn Balor go over. So those are some like top names that are moving about. Keith Lee stayed on Raw. A lot of people stayed put, but so Big E, I think Big E against Seth Rollins is fun. Big E against Keith Lee eventually is fun. Big E versus Karrion Kross at some point.
Yeah.
So there's some good matches that came out of that.
Yeah. And I just brought up that SmackDown graphic. Actually, this morning I was scrolling through WWE on their Facebook page. Today is Bayley's heel turn anniversary.
Oh.
So this morning, while I was having my cup of coffee outside and a sweet smoky treat, I watched Bayley slash her Bayley buddies, and it was just absolutely incredible. And there was actually a video. They didn't show it here, but I think when the time happened a couple months after, I guess a mother showed a video of her 5-year-old, like in tears, a 6 or 7-year-old, a young kid, just in tears as these Bayley buddies were being slashed. When you can make little kids cry, that is like top-notch heel turn right there. And Bayley's been gold ever since. And I believe I said it to my wife because wasn't able to watch SmackDown this week. But last week, I'm like, you know what? I miss Bayley. I miss her.
Yeah.
So I hope she gets back soon.
I do think the show misses her a lot.
Yeah.
I think she, yeah. I'm looking forward to, but the nice thing is she was kept out of the draft, so she can come back any moment.
She was out because of injury. Asuka was out because of injury. Eva Marie was injured on screen. So if you want to call it an injury, I guess maybe they're selling at that point. I'm going to chalk that up the reason why she wasn't drafted first overall ahead of Roman Reigns.
Elias.
Elias, yeah, I actually asked that question before the draft. Does anyone have eyes on Elias? We haven't seen him since he burned his guitar, and it looked like he was going through a character change, and we still haven't seen it yet. Slapjack apparently he went back to Shane Thorne, and apparently now he's Crocodile Dundee. Yeah. So I don't know if we put a pin on that. And I guess probably the biggest surprise is the third round tradition, the random tradition of Titus O'Neil getting drafted. That didn't happen this year. Normally, Titus O'Neil, Big Show, they usually get this mismatch round of, wow, these guys are still around. And they usually draft ahead of guys like Kevin Owens and Shinsuke Nakamura and scratch their head with that. But Titus O'Neil was not drafted either. But I know Titus will always be employed, and Titus does great work. So I knew that was the reason why they always had him drafted, to get his name still out there. But
okay. Well, I think that's good on the draft. We'll real quick here, the Crown Jewel, which is coming up next week. Is it Thursday or is it Sunday or Saturday?
It's Thursday. It's Thursday, October 20 at noon Eastern time. So
Big E versus Drew McIntyre, Roman versus Brock, Goldberg versus Lashley, Becky versus Bianca versus Sasha, Edge versus Seth Rollins, Randy Orton and Riddle versus AJ Styles and Omos. That's a really good card so far. So
I feel like they're going to go. Usually these shows, they usually go a little bit big. Like I said, it's a big stadium. Saudi Arabia pays a lot of money for this to take place. I don't think this is in a stadium, though. I believe actually this is in an arena.
Oh, I haven't looked. Yeah, I do know that the capacity is seriously smaller. It's only like 20,000 as opposed to.
Yeah, I don't think that should have an impact on the what they put out, the product that they put out. That really shouldn't have an impact. But I was going through I was on Wikipedia. Like I said, I kind of use that as my information sources. I know I shouldn't, just easier. But I was going through to see if they added any matches because I missed the shows and whatnot. And then I noticed it was not like King Fayed International Stadium or whatever. Yeah. They usually go to like one of two stadiums, and it was not. It was actually in an arena. I can't remember the name of it. But I don't think it's in the cricket stadium, right?
Yeah, no, it's a much smaller crowd this time, but it's like you mentioned, it's a paid show, so in advance. So WWE is getting paid however much, regardless of whether one person's in the crowd or,
So like you said, you have the 6 matches that you mentioned. I know Bobby and Goldberg will be some type of no holds barred. I believe Edge and Seth Rollins will be in Hell in a Cell. And we're going to have the King of the Ring and Queen's Crown tournament finals. So we have an 8-match card set up right now. 6 where we know the participants. And then within the next 2 weeks, we'll find out who will be in the finals of the Queen's Crown and the King of the Ring.
All right. And we're going to talk about that as soon as we get back from our commercial break. So stick with us. And we're going to talk about King of the Ring and Queen's Crown. If you love the Daily Wrestling News Show, then I want to tell you how you can support us. First, check out bodyslamclothes.com. You can get a variety of shirts for just $20, and all of them come in the super soft style, and the price you see includes all sizes and shipping. Get 10% off 2 or more shirts with the promo code SHIRTS10. Go to bodyslamclothes.com right now to check it out. And join Joey Jarzenka, Ian Schreier, and Rob DeLuca on Friday nights for the Primetime Rundown. They take you through the world of sports, and the show kicks off each Friday at 7 p.m. on the Eastern Observer.
And each Tuesday, Al Karl hosts the Essential Wrestling Podcast alongside John Smith, myself, John DeConnie, and Gary Mahaffey. It's another week of updates and highlights in the world of wrestling. Here are our analysis on who we think is going to win the week's matches. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. on the Eastern Observer. Pro Wrestling Pick'em. It's a place where you can join or host a Pick'em League to test your predictive skills in the world of pro wrestling. Create an account and join a league now at ProWrestlingPick'em.com so you can play against your friends or play against the universe. And the Body Slam Brigade newsletter, currently going out to over 4,200 people each Friday. It consolidates all the top stories in professional wrestling into a quick-to-read email written by me, for you, for free. Sign up now at BodySlamBrigade.com. And of course, this show, the Daily Wrestling News Show. We're here every day, Monday through Thursday, and occasionally on Friday. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or watch us live on Facebook and YouTube at 10 a.m. This is the Daily Wrestling News Show, and we thank you for your support. We are back in the headlines section, I guess. We'll go with that.
Hey, I miss scraps.
So, all right. Well, so King of the Ring, you mentioned before we went to break, we had an 8-person field. Rey Mysterio, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, Finn Balor from the SmackDown side. On the Raw side, or Raw, I guess it's kind of in flux because everybody's getting drafted around. Kofi Kingston, Jinder Mahal, Xavier Woods, and Ricochet. We know Sami and Finn, they have advanced. They'll be facing each other on SmackDown this week. And on the other side, Al, we can see a potential New Day versus New Day match.
I think you have to do that. I think that has to happen. And there is one person on this planet, and he's said it a million times over again in interviews and whatnot. Xavier Woods, his professional wrestling goal, not only to be world champion, he wants this King of the Ring in the worst possible way. And I think it would be absolutely amazing if he had to beat Kofi Kingston on his way to it. And it's not going to be, they're not going to split. Like, Kofi's not going to turn heel if he loses. Woods might turn heel. If Kofi actually beats Woods, that could be a play. I don't want to ever talk about splitting up the New Day even further than they already are. But you know what?
Is Woods your pick?
It would be a lot of fun, and it's going to be a great, for years down the line when Woods is talking about when I won King of the Ring in 2021. Kofi put me over. Kofi, we put on a hell of a match, a 20-minute barn burner on Raw, and Kofi put me over.
Is Woods your pick?
Yes, he's my pick to at least get to Saudi Arabia. Looking on the SmackDown side, I don't even know why Sami's in this, because we know Sami's not going. So it looks like it's going to be Finn Balor. If it's Finn Balor versus Xavier Woods, that would be, again, that's a monumental, huge win for Xavier Woods. So yes, I do believe Xavier Woods will be the King of the Ring, and he is going to shine. You
think so? So Xavier will be king, looking down at Prince Balor.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, Balor's a prince. Yeah. It is.
Do you think there's any? It's weird to me where they actually have a kingdom in Saudi Arabia that they're doing this.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any weird feelings with the? Must be not.
The event's called Crown Jewel. I mean, it's out of its.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know what the Saudi Arabian government how they view that.
I don't.
Like in China, you can't televise stuff that is anti-Chinese government type deal.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Saudi Arabia has. Apparently not, if they're doing these. So.
Yeah, I guess they don't care. Okay. I think right now I'm leaning towards Finn Balor, but we'll see how the Raw matches go tonight. Queen's Crown tournament. Toni Storm, Zelena Vega, Liv Morgan, Carmella, Doudrop, Natalya, Dana Brooke, Shayna Baszler. When this field was announced, I think a lot of people were looking at Liv Morgan as this is her moment. And she lost in the first round to Carmella.
I missed the match. Apparently, the internet was in an uproar about that. Everyone got their panties in a bunch. And I love that. I appreciate that. That's a Jersey girl. Everybody wants to see her shine. now that she's on her own. But my pick was Zelena Vega. My pick was Naomi actually, but now she's off. That's a fun storyline that she wasn't allowed to be in it. And now she's got to fight returning another Jersey girl, Sonya Deville, on Friday. So that'll be fun. Welcome back, Sonya. It's been too long. Can't wait for that.
So now we have Zelena Vega and Carmella in the semifinals. That's kind of weird.
That's a weird pair. Like they were frenemies, I guess you want to call it that, but they that's gonna be interesting.
Now on the other side, you got Doudrop, Natalya, Dana Brooke, and Shayna Baszler. So you got the Queen of Hearts on top, the Queen of Spades on the bottom. I'm gonna go Queen of Spades the whole tournament.
That's tough. They got the Princess of Staten Island on the other side. Yeah. So they it's tough to bet against Shayna in this. But then, do you do Zelena Vega, Shayna Baszler final? Like it's gonna be heel on heel action if Shayna Baszler makes this. So
true.
I can't. Maybe Natalya's already had her Saudi match. That moment, she's gonna be in the history books forever. So I don't think Natalya would be the one to do this. Doudrop potentially. Dana Brooke, no. Unfortunately, that's just not.
She's losing tonight. Yep.
Yeah. So it looks like we're potentially headed towards a Shayna Baszler versus Zelena Vega. I guess it could be Carmella. I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows?
Because Carmella could play that crowd. Because you have to be completely covered as a female in Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
So if Carmella is the most beautiful person ever, like she's going to easily,
I don't know,
piss off an entire country just by lifting her shirt up a little bit, and then that's the end of it. Then all of a sudden,
I don't think they're going to screw around with that.
I don't think they can either. So that's why you might just keep Carmella home on that one. So.
Yeah, good point. All right, well. As we mentioned at the beginning of the show, I took a trip and I went to 2 Dynamites. So I just want to kind of a couple quick notes on that. The Dynamite.
Holy crap! Were you all over the place on the Dynamite in Rochester? Holy crap! You were
right. I was
in every shot. You took away from the match. I was looking at your beautiful face the entire time. I just wanted to see your reaction as you were reacting to the matches. So don't ever do that again. I missed a lot of shows.
Well, the show had a heavy Brody Lee focus, and I think that was obvious even if you were watching on television. But there was a bunch of family at ringside. At the very end, -1 came out. He got the microphone. Travis and I were like, let's get out of here because that kid can talk forever. He did lead the crowd in singing happy birthday to his aunt who was at ringside. So it was just kind of a feel-good night. And, of course, the TNT Championship changed and everything on that night. So it was fun.
That shocked me. I get it now. The more when you think about it, like, okay, title change and Brody the new champion. I get it now. But like, holy crap! Like, I can't believe Miro got beat.
For as far as Miro goes, though, I say just stay tuned.
I'm sure.
I think when he comes back from this loss, he's not going to be hunting that TNT title anymore.
No.
So the Dynamite Philly show, their second anniversary show, and there was I don't know if it came through on TV. But there was definitely like an homage to the ECW era there because in the very first in Dark Elevation, which they taped before Dynamite goes on the air, and it was the first match, Joey Janela worked against Crowbar, and the Blue Meanie came out halfway through. He did a run in the match, so there was that. Then at the very end of the night, Tony Khan comes to the ring to say thank everybody for coming, and then he brings Taz, Chris Jericho, Dean Malenko, and Jerry Lynn down, and they all have, things to say about Philadelphia and, ECW days and everything. And then you'll appreciate this. Just about ready to wrap things up. And CM Punk walks out and he says, I'm a little insulted that I wasn't invited because I am a former ECW champion. So they laugh about that, and that kind of closed it out. But 2 really fun shows, and in the middle, I went to a independent in Syracuse that went like all night, 2 CW, and it started at like 7 and it went till midnight. And the very last match, it was Evil Uno and Stu Grayson wrestling, and -1 did a run-in and a low blow to get them the win for the match. So very weird because, man, I think Brody Lee Jr. should have been in bed before that time. But
yeah, well, it wasn't a school night. I don't have a problem with that. But Yeah, is he supposed to be still be working? Like I said, is he working? Like it's. I know this is like they can play it off as like, oh, he's just having fun with his friends, and child labor laws aren't gonna be pissed off. But like, this is like, is there a line? There's gotta be a line somewhere. Not that I'm having a problem with Brody Jr., but I just like I'm worried.
It's child acting. It's done everywhere, right?
That's fair. Okay, you're right. I knew there was an answer. I knew there was an answer somewhere. I'm like, wait a minute, is he supposed to be working?
Yeah.
Does he have working papers in yet? Yeah, working papers at
10. All right, some other things. Over the weekend, we had knockouts, knockdown. Mercedes Martinez won the Impact tournament, so she is going to be getting a championship match against either Deonna Purrazzo or Mickie James.
Either my ass. Are you kidding me?
Well, if you had watched Knockouts, Knockdown, Mickie James would not shut up about the fact that it's going to be her the entire time. Mickie James is on commentary.
I'm sure.
And every time we had a tournament match, we talked about how much Mickie James would love to wrestle this person. So it was talked about a lot. So Mercedes Martinez getting that title match. She, by the way, beat Tasha Steelz in the final, who was my pick to win the whole thing. So
Jersey girl.
Bad.
You know what? We could have had some Jersey on Jersey violence if Tasha would have won that final. That would have been crazy.
I say maybe it'll happen still. So
you never know. I had Chelsea Green. She just stuck out to me. I just figured that would have been, Deonna versus Chelsea. They're best friends. They've been on Twitter. They've just been all over. When are we gonna fight? When are we gonna fight? We're gonna have some fun. Not like nasty like plotline ones like what MJF would do on Twitter, but like they want to have a feud. So I just figured like this was the perfect chance to set it up, and I was completely wrong.
Yeah, well, that's Awesome Kong to be inducted into the Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame. That'll happen Bound for Glory weekend. The Inspiration is going to debut at Bound for Glory. So Inspiration, of course, is the Iconics. So that's fun.
Yeah, good for them. That's where they belong. They need to be. They need to be an Impact and the tag team where they can win tag titles together, and that's where they belong. Good for them. I'm happy.
Yeah, Travis mentioning we saw Thunder Rosa versus Mercedes Martinez in Syracuse at the 2CW show, so that was pretty cool.
Sounds like
Thunder Rosa have been all over the place because if you watched GCW's Fight Club over the weekend where Moxley defeated Nick Gage, she also appeared and she wrestled intergender in a 7-way scramble match. So she didn't win, but she was there. So.
And what signs did Travis bring to this event? Because he had a different sign every 5 minutes when I was watching him on Dynamite. I'm calling him the man of 1,000 signs, along with the salesman of fun. So
that'll work. He didn't have any signs for the independent show. That's too bad. But which I threw up in the Minutes to Bell Time Facebook group. If people are interested to watch that show, they put it on YouTube for free. So there it is. Regarding the Inspiration for Bound for Glory, I agree with you. I think this is probably the right move for them because there's a focus on women's tags here, and there's a heavy focus on women's wrestling. So I think and Impact is just a little bit odd. And I think it fits with them.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Oh, my God. If you put them in like Wrestle House or on Wrestler's Court, it'd be ridiculous. Like, yes, Impact was the correct answer. And the same thing with Strowman. Like, I mean, Strowman needs to get to Impact.
Well, we may see that. Scott D'Amore has joked, right, that it's Braun for Glory.
Yeah.
So I mentioned the GCW show a few seconds ago. Moxley, of course, gets the win over Nick Gage. Chelsea Green ran out to help Matt Cardona win back the Internet Championship from Effie. The Briscoes ran out at the end of there was a 6-man tag, the Second Gear Crew, which is Mance Warner and Matthew Justice. They were on the winning side of a 6-man tag match, and they said, we're the GCW tag champions. Nobody can beat us. Nobody in any company. They mentioned AEW and WWE by name, and then out come the Briscoes from Ring of Honor. So. Oh, wow. This is fun because the Briscoes, I don't think, take a lot of dates outside of Ring of Honor. So this is interesting.
I've always, the Briscoes, I just have such a high. The Briscoes and the Gorillas of Destiny, I just want to see them branch out into American like mainstream TV and see how they do.
Yeah,
whether it is AEW or Impact or W, I don't care where they go. I just want to see them on a higher level.
Well, the worst part is Ring of Honor could have been so huge if they just wanted to be. A few years ago, they were so hot, and they just didn't. they didn't make a leap, because they're on Sinclair broadcasting, and so it's limited.
I would have the Forbidden Door's open. I know the Good Brothers put out a challenge to either Finn Juice or to the Bullet Club, but I would love to see the Briscoes walk through the door, and I would love to see the Briscoes and the Good Brothers at Bound for Glory. I would love to see the God against them. I know they're in the G1 Climax. They're not going to be over. I was kind of hoping that would happen, but
a little tight.
Yeah.
GCW also announced that they're going to run the Hammerstein Ballroom on January 23rd. Now that's a big venue at about 2,000 people, so that's big for them. This was an announcement. They were kind of like it was an FU to all the people that said they've seen a million GCWs come and go. That's basically what this was, and so they were very excited. They did a really nice commercial about going to Hammerstein, so it's fun. Good for them.
Yep, good. Nice to see Hammerstein Ballroom still getting business, too.
There you go.
I feel like that place should have been knocked down years ago.
Well, it might get knocked down at the GCW show.
Yeah. That's the thing, the unintentional farewell show that's going to unleash Nick Gage and just tear it down.
Wow, Women of Wrestling is returning in early 2022. AJ Mendez is going to be the executive producer. Tessa Blanchard has signed on as one of the key talent announcements. The internet exploded. And she put out a shirt that said she's nuclear on it, which I think most people think that about her. So it's
now you're gonna play. Yeah, now you're gonna play. You gotta play to it. That's genius on Tessa's part. You gotta play to it. Yep.
If you're wondering about the G1 Climax, Kota Ibushi is now leading the A block. He's got 12 points. Saber, Kenta, and Shingo Takagi follow with 10 points on the B block side. Jeff Cobb and Kazuchika Okada, they both have 12 points. Evil is trailing with 10 points. Travis and I will talk about this tomorrow in a little bit more detail to kind of try to zero in on who we think might be heading towards the finals.
I'm telling you, Tatsuya Naito's going to come back. He's going to come back and win the whole thing.
I think it'll be really hard for him to do that. I would say bordering on impossible, but it's not bordering. It is.
Hey, professional wrestling. Anything is possible in professional wrestling.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they could figure it out.
Shane McMahon in a tournament he wasn't involved in, so anything can happen in the...
Travis Booze Codis has given someone else a G1 win. Yeah, it's tough. The entire time that Travis has been watching, Kota Ibushi has pretty much won the G1 Climax. So tonight on Monday Night Raw, we have Sasha and Bianca versus Charlotte and Becky. Big E and Drew McIntyre face off prior to Crown Jewel. The King of the Ring tournament continues with Woods versus Ricochet, Kingston versus Jinder Mahal. The Queen's Crown tournament continues with Doudrop versus Natalya, Shayna Baszler versus Dana Brooke. I know you're headed to Long Island. That'll be hosting some Raw and some Raw and AEW here pretty soon, or SmackDown
at that arena. So I'm going to be making sure I'm going to go check on it for the first. I haven't been there since March, so I'm sure a lot's been done construction-wise on the new facility, and I'm going to get to go be there tomorrow.
All right. Well, let us know how everything goes next week. So, all right. Well, then for Al, anything else in wrestling? Did we cover down pretty well?
Yeah, I had one joke and I forgot what it was, so we're good.
Okay. Well, save it for next week. For Al, I'm Ryan. We'll see you tomorrow.
Miss you, Bailey.